Amazing soil structures and rock formations. Today, we are going to talk about how they had formed and what is the reason for their formation. Nature may seem so beautiful, but have you ever wondered what is the reason behind those? What had made them so beautiful? So today we are going to find out why. Weathering and erosion. The reason for the mesmerizing sights that we may see in our surroundings, different formations, and different landscapes. What could be made them so special? This is Period 2, Group 3. What is weathering? Weathering is a process that breaks down rocks and other substances at Earth's surface. Weathering wears mountains down to hills and can produce strange rock formations like in the previous slide. There are two types of weathering: mechanical or physical weathering and chemical weathering. First, we are going to talk about the mechanical weathering. What is it? It is when rocks are broken apart by physical processes like heat, water, ice, pressure, temperature, etc. The overall chemical makeup of the rock stays the same. Example of mechanical weathering. First, we have frost wedging. Frost wedging. So what happens when we have frost wedging? Water seeps into cracks and fractures the rock. Next, when the water freezes, it expands about 9% in volume, which wedges apart the rock. Lastly, since it is a repeated freeze-thaw cycles, rock breaks into pieces. So frost wedging had occurred in this rock, and this what will the rock look like if it continues to do so? Next example of mechanical weathering we have exfoliation. Exfoliation happens when rock expands, when the pressure of overlying rock is removed, causing it to break into flat sheets, as what you can see in this picture. Another example is this exfoliation. As you can see, there's a lot of sheets in there.
Example of mechanical weathering. The expansion and contraction of rock caused by temperature changes. C. Thermal expansion. Expand and contract. For example, heating of rock by sunlight or fires can cause expansion of their minerals. This stress eventually causes the rock to crack apart. Thermal shattering of rock due to a forest fire. The heated exterior will expand faster than the cool interior, causing the exterior to break. Example of mechanical weathering, biological weathering. Water and nutrients collect in the crack of cracks that can result in the growth of plants. As the roots grow, they enlarge the cracks. Burrowing animals also cause mechanical weathering. They loosen sediment and push it to the surface as they burrow. Weathering can also occur by the rubbing of one object or surface against another. Turn to an elbow partner and describe example of mechanical weathering you have observed recently in real life, not the activator or in the past. Chemical weathering. Chemical reaction dissolve or change the minerals in rock or change them into different minerals. Changes the chemical composition. Example of chemical weathering. Rocks and minerals can dissolve in acidic water. Dissolution. Caves form when slightly acidic groundwater dissolved limestone. Cave form acidic dissolved limestone. Some plants give off acids that also dissolve mineral in rock. The rock is weakened and eventually break into smaller pieces. Example of chemical weathering, the chemical compounds mixed in rock can break down due to a reaction with water, hydrolysis. An example is feldspar changing to clay. Example of chemical weathering. When minerals containing iron are exposed to water and oxygen in the air, the iron reacts to form a new material that looks like rust oxidation. Due to oxidation, iron-containing minerals like magnetite can weather to form a rust-like material called limonite. Turn to an elbow partner and discuss how making, baking, and eating chocolate chip cookies is similar to mechanical and chemical weathering. Erosion.
Good day everyone. So let's proceed to erosion. So erosion is the physical removal and transportations of weathered material by water, wind, ice, and gravity. So what are some ways that weathered materials can be transported? So there are 4 ways that weathered materials can be transported. So first is erosions by gravity. Erosion by gravity is rocks and other materials, especially on steep slopes, are pulled toward the center of Earth by gravity. So here the weathering occurs by prose wedging. So the prose wedging is the mechanical disintegrations, splitting or breakup of rocks by the pressures of water. Freezing rocks, crevices, pure and joint or bedding planes. So the example of erosions by gravity is slump, rock slides, and mudslides. So next, second is erosions by wind. So when air moves, it picks up loose materials and transports it to other places. So the example of erosions by wind are sunstorm, dust storm, and strong winds. So next is the third erosions by water. When water moves, it picks up loose materials and transport it to other places. So there are four example of erosions by water. So first is river or streams, and second rain, and third is runoff, and lastly is flooding. Erosions by water, waves eroding and the shoreline. So the last erosions is erosions by ice. When a glacier moves, it picks up loose materials and transport to other places. So erosions by ice, mountain, ice and rocks or stones in the ice quickly erodes downward and turn to an elbow partner and describe examples of erosions you have observed. With a different elbow partner, discuss the difference between weathering and erosions. So, at this part, let's differentiate the similarities and differences between weathering and erosions. So, weathering and erosions are two very different processes that tend to act sequentially. Weathering is the process of breaking large rock into smaller rock over time, while erosion, the movements of weathered rock and soil from one place to another. And the similarities, both wind, ice, gravity, and water. And so weathering is the result of the physical and chemical changes of rock and mineral material. The resulting product might or might not be transported. So that's all.